My grandson slid the note to me when no one was looking. His fingers trembled as the paper brushed my palm beneath the dining table. I knew instantly this wasn't teenage mischief or a prank. Fear has a weight to it. You can feel it before you read a single word. "Grandpa," the note said, "check the storage unit Dad rented last month, Unit 311. The code is Mom's birthday reversed. You need to go before Friday." I looked up at him. He didn't look back. He kept his eyes locked on his plate, stabbing at his food like it had personally offended him. Across the table, my son's new wife, Vanessa, laughed brightly while describing a shopping trip she'd taken that afternoon. Her voice was cheerful, practiced, flawless. That was the moment I knew something was very wrong. Let me rewind. My name's Harold. I'm 68 years old, and I live in a quiet residential area in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. 3 years earlier, my wife Eleanor died after a long battle with cancer. 46 years of marriage ended in a hospital room that smelled of disinfectant and grief. Losing her cracked our family apart, but no one took it harder than our son, Daniel. Daniel was 43 when he lost his mother. He'd always been close to her. After Eleanor died, he became hollow, functional, but empty. His first marriage had collapsed years before, leaving him with a son, my grandson Noah, who was 14 at the time. Noah lived primarily with his mother in Calgary, but spent school breaks with Daniel. 18 months after Eleanor's death, Daniel met Vanessa at a corporate fundraiser. She was 39, poised, warm, attentive. She laughed at his jokes, listened when he spoke about his work, touched his arm when she talked. After months of loneliness, Daniel latched onto her like a lifeline. They married after just 7 months. I thought it was rushed, but grief makes people desperate for light, and Vanessa seemed to glow. At first, everything appeared fine. Noah told me his dad was smiling again. Vanessa called me Dad, brought baked goods when she visited, asked about my old carpentry tools. I wanted to believe she was a blessing. Then things shifted. About 6 months earlier, Daniel started to look off, thinner, pale. He forgot things, small things at first, missed appointments, lost his train of thought mid-sentence. Once, he called me 3 times in one afternoon asking the same question. Daniel was meticulous, always had been. This forgetfulness didn't fit. Noah noticed too. I could see it in the way he watched his father when he thought no one else was paying attention. But whenever I asked him directly, he shrugged it off. Then came that dinner. Vanessa had invited me over, insisting on a proper family night. She cooked a full meal. Daniel barely ate. His movements were sluggish, his hands shaking as he lifted his fork. Vanessa kept touching his arm, murmuring, "You need your strength," in a tone that made my skin prickle. That's when Noah slipped me the note. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I was standing outside a storage facility on Idlewild Drive, staring at a row of metal doors. Unit 311 was on the second level. The lock clicked open when I entered the code. Inside were 3 boxes. The first one held documents, legal paperwork, a will, Daniel's will, dated just weeks earlier. Everything went to Vanessa. No mention of Noah, not a single line. The signature looked like Daniel's, almost, but the lettering was wrong. I'd seen my son sign his name thousands of times. This wasn't it. The second box made my stomach churn. Syringes, bottles of medication, latex gloves, and a notebook. The notebook was detailed. Dates, dosages, observations. Increased confusion today. Balance issues worse. Memory gaps widening. This wasn't concern. This was documentation. I looked up the medication name on my phone. It made my blood run cold. The third box sealed it. Photos of my house, my routines, my bank information, and my life insurance policy, with a sticky note attached. One word written neatly across it. I stood frozen in that storage unit, the hum of fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, my heart pounding so hard I thought it might echo off the metal walls. I took photos of everything, every page, every bottle, every image, then put it all back exactly as I'd found it. Panic would help no one. I needed proof, not assumptions. That night, Noah called me. He'd never called before. His voice was barely above a whisper. "Did you go?" "Yes." A pause. "You saw it, didn't you?" "I saw everything." He swallowed audibly. "I followed her. She moved the boxes while Dad was at work. I watched which unit she used. I tried combinations until it opened." My chest tightened. That was dangerous. "I know," he said, "but Grandpa, she's hurting him. I've seen her put things in his coffee. Yesterday, Dad collapsed. She cleaned the mug before the ambulance came." I closed my eyes. A 14-year-old boy had been carrying this terror alone. I told Noah not to eat or drink anything she prepared. He said he already wasn't. I called an old friend that night, Mark Ellis, retired police detective. I told him everything. He listened carefully, then said, "You're right. We need to catch her actively poisoning him." The plan was risky. The next morning, I called Vanessa and told her I wanted to stay with them for a few days. I played the worried father. She hesitated, but eventually agreed. When I arrived, Daniel looked worse, gray, weak, confused. I brought 3 tiny cameras with me. That night, after everyone was asleep, I watched the feeds from my laptop. At 11:52 p.m., Vanessa went into the kitchen. She took a bottle from a high cabinet. She measured carefully. She poured liquid into Daniel's coffee grounds. I recorded everything. Friday morning, I dumped the coffee before anyone woke up. At 8:10 a.m., the doorbell rang. Police. Vanessa's face drained of color. They found the drugs, the syringes, the notebook, the storage unit contents. Daniel was rushed to the hospital. The doctors confirmed poisoning. He survived. Part 3. The hospital room was quiet in that unnatural way only medical places ever are. Machines humming softly, fluorescent lights buzzing. Time stretched thin. Daniel lay in the bed, pale but alive. The doctor said if the poisoning had continued even a few more days, the damage could have been permanent. Hearing that made my knees weak. I sat there holding my son's hand, silently promising that no one would ever hurt him again if I could help it. Noah stayed with me while Daniel recovered. At first, he barely spoke. He kept his emotions tightly locked away, like a dam holding back a flood. Then, one evening, while we were eating dinner, burnt toast and canned soup because neither of us felt like cooking, he broke. He cried in deep, wrenching sobs that shook his whole body. "I should have said something sooner," he kept repeating. "I knew something was wrong. I thought no one would believe me." I pulled him into my arms and held him the way I used to when he was small. "You saved your dad's life," I told him. "You were brave when grown adults failed. That matters more than you know." Daniel struggled when he finally understood the full truth. The betrayal cut deeper than the physical pain. Vanessa hadn't just tried to kill him, she had rewritten his reality. Every memory from the past year felt poisoned. He questioned his own judgment, his own intelligence. Therapy became necessary, not optional. The investigation moved quickly after the arrest. When police searched the storage unit and Vanessa's digital devices, the scope of her plan became horrifyingly clear. She had spreadsheets tracking timelines, drafts of condolence messages, notes about insurance payouts. It wasn't impulsive, it was methodical. Her brother folded under pressure. He admitted to helping forge documents and move assets. That confession cracked the case wide open. Then came the discoveries that made the courtroom go silent. 2 former husbands, both dead, both written off as tragic but ordinary losses. Exhumations revealed the same substance in their systems, the same pattern. Vanessa hadn't just targeted Daniel, he was simply the next step. The trial lasted weeks. I testified. Noah did too. Watching him stand there, steady, composed, telling the truth without embellishment was one of the proudest moments of my life. The verdict was swift. Vanessa was sentenced to life with no chance of parole for decades. Her brother received 15 years. When the judge read the sentence, she didn't cry, she didn't shout. She simply stared ahead, her mask finally gone, revealing nothing underneath. Afterward, Daniel sold the house. Too many ghosts. He bought a smaller place close to mine. We see each other almost every day now, sometimes just for coffee, sometimes for long talks that stretch into the evening. Noah decided to stay in Saskatoon full-time. He's 17 now, taller than me, sharper than ever. He talks about studying criminal justice, about protecting people who don't realize they're in danger. He says he wants to be the person who notices the quiet signs. I understand why. As for me, I went back to my workshop, back to sawdust and half-finished projects, back to the quiet rhythm of ordinary days. I've learned that normal life isn't boring, it's precious. People ask me how I knew to act. The truth is, I didn't know. I felt. Something didn't sit right. I trusted a frightened child instead of dismissing him. That choice made all the difference. Evil rarely announces itself. It blends in, smiles, brings food, calls you family. That's why paying attention matters. That's why listening matters. Every Sunday, the three of us cook dinner together. Sometimes we burn it. Sometimes we laugh until our sides hurt. We talk about Eleanor, about the future, about nothing important at all. And every time I look at my son and my grandson sitting across from me, alive and safe, I'm reminded of one simple truth. Money can be replaced. Houses can be sold. Time can heal. But people are irreplaceable. And protecting them, no matter your age, is always worth the risk.